why don't you just start by just like telling me who you are and like what you like to do and your sort of like art background.
I'm Austin Brady. I'm 22. I'm an artist in Detroit. Like most artists, I started when I was really young. That really picked up speed, say like middle school. I started to do, I was probably the only middle schooler to do a independent study, and I went to Gallery 555 to do a documentary, and I met a man there named Monty Martinez, and I instantly fell in love with the Detroit art scene, and I knew like that was the path that I wanted to like plow through. So doing art through high school, and then going to CCS, like starting to go to CCS. I was in admissions office, and I had lost contact with Monty for a very long time. And he walks out of his office and picks up my registration form and looks at it, and he goes, "Austin Brady?" And he turns to me and he goes, "Austin Brady, we've been waiting for you." And I knew that everything sort of had come together.
Yeah.
So then going through college, I started doing shows, picking up shows here and there, and I'm on my way. I feel like I'm getting like recognized and noticed a little bit, and it's a little awkward and a little exciting and everything all together.
Well, that's kind of cool. So, like, you just had your art show. Why don't you tell me about that?
Yeah, I just had a solo show at the Scarab Club called Poor Boy, and the title is sort of playing with the idea of one, not having money and then going into something and in hopes of having money, and that sort of like emotional distress in that aspect, but also like the strange, superficial sort of social stance that we use when we hear something bad happening to somebody else, or whoever, or bless their heart type thing, but you don't really know them or mean it or anything like that, and it's so in and out instantaneous that there's no real retention in it. And I feel like being a small-time artist and competing for global attention in a global economy and focusing on visual culture, it's sort of that instantaneous in and out type thing. So it's called Poor Boy. I worked mostly within the last 3 weeks before the show, and I think I spent about 5 nights awake, just not sleeping the week before the show, and finally like hammering it out last minute. It was pretty nice.
Did it go like at all the way you were expecting it to go, or was it better or worse than you thought it would be?
It was really nice. I liked that, a lot of people showed up, and it was fun. I ended up spending more money than I make, but that I guess that's like I
artist
chose this.
life.
Yeah.
Well, so like tell me about your art. Like what sort of describe your whole outlook on your art and sort of like what it means to you and where you get your inspiration and stuff like that.
Art is a lot of things for me, but it's sounding stereotypical artist here. It's a way for me to sort of like dump and feed a lot of these thoughts and emotions into specifically the type of work that I'm doing now. Is taking snippets of conversations or emotions or certain circumstances that are, just very everyday type things, and going in and analyzing, okay, if I were to personify this, if I were to make a deity of this conversation, what would it look like? So going back and doing lots of research on lots of different cultures, lots of different religions, and just sort of using those motifs to make these, I don't know, deities, these monsters that sort of have to bear with the idea that their sole existence is to be representation for a 2-second conversation.
That's deep. I don't know. I like that a lot. I mean, for me personally, I mean, I'm a graphic designer, but my background is in fine arts, and that's, you know, where my main skill set is. It's so hard for me to like come up with my own style, I guess, because like I'm just so scatterbrained and all over the place. So I do like graphic design, and then I do painting, and then I do crafts, and like all kinds of different things. So for me, like, I'm just so jealous of people like you who have like a definitive style, and you can really, you know, make a whole conversation about that, where I'm just like all over the place.
It's taken me a lot of work and a little bit of rehearsal to remember what I've thought and stuff like that. So I'm equally scatterbrained. It's just doesn't quite show as much, I guess. But I do have lots of different, I guess, stylistic choices depending on, you know, my mood or how I'm feeling. So I've done very, very organic work, or I've done really geometric, just depending on how I'm feeling, or what tickles my fancy at that moment, or sort of the conceptual choices that I've made as far as like, okay, what's this creature going to look like? So, is it a geometric feeling? Was it a very organic conversation? Stuff like that.
Well, that's awesome. I really like your work. I wish I could have gone to your show, but I had a concert that night. But
oh yeah, there's gonna be plenty of shows out there.